For what purpose does the gentlewoman from California rise?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the gentleman for the courtesy of allowing me to speak at this time. I want to join my colleague, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, in acknowledging that this weekend we will begin the International AIDS Conference. It will come to America with a fitting theme, turning the tide together. There's a long history. In 1990, expert scientists and political officials from across the globe gathered in San Francisco, in my district, for the International AIDS Conference to turn our promise of leadership into progress. Since that time, however, the conference has never returned to an American venue. For 2 decades, the organizers refused to, pointing to our long-time shameful travel ban on those with HIV/AIDS. Next week, when the conference assembles, right here in our nation's capital, the world will see how far we've come. Together, we will commit to turning the tide, as the theme indicates, toward the next phase in our fight: fewer infections and a cure and an end to HIV/AIDS. Consider what this Congress has done: funding Ryan White Care Act, creating housing opportunity for people with HIV, expanding access to Medicaid with people with HIV, but not full-blown AIDS. And that's an early intervention. Increased investments in research, care, treatment, and prevention by more than $500 million. And in response to the global challenge, under the leadership of Congresswoman Barbara Lee, we have supported global solutions, increasing funding for the bilateral AIDS efforts during the Clinton administration, making the first American contribution, Congresswoman Lee, to the global fight to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria in 2000, working with Presidents Bush and Obama to establish PEPFAR. I know that it's a source of great pride to President George W. Bush, the leadership he provided, the support he gave, and the pride I think he takes in PEPFAR, and we salute him for that. President Obama has continued that work. We're doubling the support for global health initiatives and doubling our investment in the Global Fund. These commitments and more have helped families in the United States, in the villages of Africa, in communities worldwide. These actions have saved lives, but there's much more to do. And with the International AIDS Conference coming to Washington, D.C., we have an opportunity to recommit ourselves to the cause of a world without HIV/AIDS. That is the challenge. That is the goal. We can turn the tide together. After 25 years in Congress, little surprises me anymore, but one thing that does is that after all this time, we still do not have a cure, but we're hopeful. And with the AIDS Conference, when it opens its doors next week, we must stand united in our pledge to discover a cure and raise up an AIDS-free generation. Science is making progress. We have a moral obligation to support that. It has been done in a bipartisan way under President Bush's leadership, under President Clinton, under President Obama. Hopefully we can continue to do that. We can and we must work together to make HIV/AIDS a very, very sad memory and certainly not part of our future. I thank you, Congresswoman Lee, for your tremendous leadership, locally and globally and in every way, and certainly in this Congress of the United States. With that, Madam Speaker, I yield back the balance of my time.